Hello and welcome to my channel. Vice Rhino here. So I'm doing an AMA this week because I did that thing again where I forgot to actually book someone to join me here, and it kind of throws the flow off if I'm by myself. Blade Runner, you're an ass. So thing is, when I saw this, you proclaim that I will be 1 minute late, and if you doubt my accuracy, you shall go pee, just a normal pee, nothing nasty. What do you take? When I saw you guessing that I was going to be 1 minute late, I was actually tempted to be 2 minutes late exactly. So I was not trying to be on time. That was just me resisting the urge to be late. But still, hi Blade, how's it going? Yeah, so because I forgot everything, yeah, no, there's no tweets tonight, so there's no case orbs tonight. Okay, that's a bit of a lie. There's not no tweets. I do have one tweet that I want to show. No, it's not case orbs. For those of you interested, I am drinking McClellan's Islay blended thing. It's mid-priced bottle of scotch. Haven't tried it yet. I think I've tried it before, but I don't remember it, so. Yeah, it's all right. I like the older ones better. The 15-year aged ones. But they're more expensive. There's a reason for that. This one's kind of peaty. But peaty can be good. A lot of people like peaty. Anyway, so we have one tweet this evening that it was just, this is a bad week to skip the tweets because of everything that's been happening with Trump. But so I'm not skipping that entirely. I had to show this one. So this is from Sarah Huckabee Sanders, which is, if you are unaware somehow, she was his press secretary for the first bit of his tenure as president. And she basically everything she ever said was a lie, pretty much. And I saw this tweet. My first thought was that oh, this is a new tweet that she's just sent out. Maybe somehow she's got some sense knocked into her and she's trying to distance herself from her former boss. And so maybe she's actually maybe trying to do the right thing here. But then I looked at the date. It's from 2016. So it's like, nope, this is just another one of those tweets that aged like a fine milk. So we've got, when you're attacking FBI agents because you're under criminal investigation, you're losing. I'm gonna say yes. I agree with that. Sure, why not? I mean, not necessarily, but yeah, it's just delicious. And now, that meme that you see going around with Twump, forget how to say my R's, with Trump saying that like people plead, like only guilty people plead the fifth. That's not quite an accurate quote. He did say something along those lines. Like he did say, like he did it like, oh well, why are these people pleading the fifth if they're not guilty? Like he did ask that question, but he didn't say it exactly that way. So I as much as delicious as that is, I don't share the meme because the meme is not quite accurate, and I'd prefer to share accurate things. Everybody's making fun of me for saying twump. Woo woo, it's twump. I'm sorry. Hashtag. Okay, do you guys know Heath Enright's impression of Sarah Huckabee Sanders? I kind of need him to do the voice for me for this one. I can't do it. When you're attacking FBI agents because you're under criminal investigation, you're losing. I think he uses effects on that as well. It's not just him. But yeah, I like Heath Enright's Sarah Huckabee Sanders impersonation. Imper something. Anyway, so the Ask Me Anything is, according to Surus, I said the war words. Is that uwu? I know he gets upset when people say uwu, and I assume that's just kind of like a running gag sort of thing. Sounds like Alex Jones. Yeah, that's my Sarah Huckabee Sanders voice is actually Alex Jones. But yeah, I know Cyrus gets upset with the uwu thing, but I actually don't watch his streams. So like, I'm sorry, I can't watch them for 24 hours straight. I actually don't watch. Generally, in my personal time, I don't really watch a lot of atheist YouTube content that I would otherwise. Like if I wasn't making YouTube videos, I would absolutely watch Cyrus. But because I am, I'm just like, it feels like it's like if you work in a restaurant, you generally don't go out to eat at the restaurant that you work at on your day off. It feels like that sort of thing. Like, yeah, I'm not working, but it's too close to work, sort of thing. So anyway, the way this is going to work is I've got some questions lined up from patrons and channel members and just randos on Twitter and randos on YouTube. I'm going to prioritize them, so patrons first, then channel members, and then the Twitter and YouTube randos. If you guys want to ask a question, go ahead and send a super chat. I will probably just get completely distracted with whatever I'm saying in the middle, and you super chats will take top priority. Like I'll make sure I get to all the people that I'll make sure that I get to all the patron questions and all the member questions. I think there's few enough of them that I should be able to get through all of them. But yeah, if you guys have a question you want to ask me, some burning insight, send me a super chat. I do not promise that I'm going to give a serious answer. Depends on the question. If you're asking me about information that I don't want to divulge, I will not divulge it. Sean Cooper says, I'm a YouTube rando. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm just going to read those in the order that they show up on the website, so there's no particular order to them. Well, yeah, I guess they're in the order in which they came. So Rock Lee says, what is one college class you would like to take that would help you with your video research? I've actually thought about this. I'm not sure, like, if I had to choose one class, because I've thought about, like, taking piecemeal classes. I don't have the time to like, actually go and attend, like, an actual college course for credentials or whatever, but I have considered taking just normal classes. And I like, it's kind of a toss-up between what I think would help me most with my channel and what I would be most interested in, because those are not necessarily the same thing. I think because well, for instance, like I have taken Joel Baden's class at Yale on the Book of Exodus, and so I'm officially credentialed as like I'm a Yale certified knower of some things about the Book of Exodus. That's my official credential. But it was a fun class and I enjoyed it. But that probably wouldn't be the type, like I wouldn't go into something biblical out of my own personal interest. Like if I was to go for interest, I'd go more towards maybe astronomy, um, like with a focus on like cosmology. I don't know if they would do introductory courses at that kind of level, but yeah, so if it's for personal interest, that could also apply to the channel. Probably something astronomy related. If it's purely for the channel, then yeah, probably the Bible related stuff would be better. Like, and obviously, like that's a huge topic. Like I took an entire week's long class on just the Book of Exodus, and we didn't even get through the whole thing in as much depth as Joel wanted to go into it. Joel, I'm calling him Joel as if I know him on a first name basis. Dr. Baden, he's a good guy though. Very, very entertaining teacher too. Okay. Maki Mochi says, "What hobbies do you have?" If I lean this way, you can see my guitar is over there. So I play guitar a little bit. I'm not very good, but I do play it. I play some video games, not a lot of video games, because I don't know. The video game has to be just right in order to catch my attention to where I actually remember to keep playing it. Because I have loads of video games that I've started playing and then just forgotten about. And then I have like 3 that I play hundreds and hundreds of hours in over the course of years. I do have a job. I don't sit on my ass playing video games all day long. But yeah, those are the 2 main hobbies because that's basically all I have time for at the moment. Because my other hobby is trying to not have my kids die. So that's fun. Samuel Patre says, "What would push you further to mythicist? What could convince you, or what would convince you?" I don't really know, to be perfectly honest. Like honestly, the mythicist position is like I don't find it unreasonable. I have noticed, like, what other people have said is that Dr. Ehrman, when he talks about mythicism, he's very dismissive of it. He doesn't actually do a very good job of addressing the points. Sean, was that a question there? That wasn't a question. That's just a, well, thanks for the super chat, Sean. So yeah, that kind of leads me towards thinking that, like, okay, the evidence that the guy actually existed maybe isn't quite as strong as the non-mythicist would have you believe. So that's where I kind of like come in, like it seems reasonable to me. It's not unreasonable for sure. But by the same token, like I don't know, there's a bunch of books written as if he's an actual guy, and like yeah, they're obviously mythologized to a certain degree. But like even most mythicists will probably say that like there might be a core to the stories that are based on someone, but it wasn't anything like the Jesus character. Like, or maybe it's an amalgamation of different people that had similar messages or something like that. So it's, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what would make me more of a mythicist. I'm just kind of on the fence with it, and ultimately, I don't really care about the position that much. And so for me, it's just easier to approach it from, let's just, like, instead of even having that debate because it doesn't matter to me, I just say, who cares? Let's just assume that you're right and he existed and go from there. Oh, Sean, have you been to a strip club? Oh, I'm debating whether or not to give the serious answer for this one. Okay, so as I mentioned on a live stream a couple weeks ago, or last week, I don't know, I have been seeing someone, and she found out, just like, I think it was last week, that I've never been to a strip club. And so we went to a strip club. And that was my first time ever, was like last week. So that's a very timely question. Yeah, I don't see myself going back there anytime soon because not much really happened and it cost way too much for not much to really happen. So, like, eh. I mean, it was fun, but like, not my scene. Okay, next Patreon question. Why do so many non-Americans comment on American shit? I would think Canada has its own god and trans rights issues, not just you, mind you, but British people too. I can't speak specifically to the British people. I know British people do have a lot of issues with trans rights that they do comment on quite a bit now. Um, but because like I know that like their media is it covers it from a very very slanted anti-trans position. Um, but as far as Canada's concerned, it's not that we don't have issues, but like there's a couple things. Like firstly, if like as a YouTuber, I am trying to grow an audience, and it's just a fact of being a YouTuber that the United States is the easiest place to grow an audience. So if you focus on American things, then Americans are more likely to watch you. Um, yeah, so that's part of it. But there's also that the issues that Canada faces are not as severe as in the States. So it's not as like I don't know, like are like I have free health care. Like my monthly medication cost me about $30 a month. If I didn't, if the government didn't cover part of that, where I guess pharmacist. Okay, this is a bit of a side track, but the pharmacist last time I picked it up. So I might I'll tell this story. Someone asked me about ADHD a little later on, so I'll tell this story when I get there, probably if I remember. But yeah, I don't know. Canada has issues, but they're not as um, what's the word? Catastrophic, I guess. Because like, yeah, it sucks that we have Catholic schools that are funded publicly, but like when you're filling out your form to do your property taxes, you can choose I want to fund Catholic school or I want to fund the non-religious public school. And I just checked the non-religious public school, so my money doesn't go to that. Yes, it's an issue, but it's not that big of an issue. And on top of that, we actually don't have the strict separation of church and state in our constitution like the states does, or in our Bill of Rights. So like, I look at it as an issue, but it's not like this should be illegal sort of issue going by our constitution. And our government does a pretty decent job of like not overstepping our Bill of Rights. So it's just I don't know. It's not as sensational in Canada. Let's see. Did I miss it? Did anyone send me? Yeah, no. Last question from you guys was a strip club one. So I can't believe you asked that like the week after I go for the first time ever. It's funny. That's proof of God right there. All right. How are you and your kids doing after the all too early departure of Mrs. Rhino? We're doing about as well as could be expected. There's some struggles. There's some. Yeah, we've got a giant stuffed rabbit that sits on a rocking chair in the living room that every now and then they'll come down and cuddle it. We call it the mama bunny. It's like when they miss mama, they cuddle the mama bunny for a little bit. Lily comes down and has. They used to like when in the immediate weeks after she died, they were emergency cuddles. So like she would like not be able to go to sleep because she was upset and sad and she needed support. And so we'd cuddle for a bit. And now they've like we still call them emergency cuddles, but it's not as much of an emergency now. It's more of a it's kind of a habit sort of thing, and I'm fine with that. Like my kids want to cuddle me. I'm not going to say no, but yeah. So we're doing about as well as could be expected. All right, Dan Livent, rapid fire Doctor Who questions. Favorite classic? There's breaks it up into classic and modern. Just Just to say right up front, I haven't watched a lot of classic Who. Like I've watched a few episodes here and there. Um, but yeah, I've seen pretty much every episode of the modern one. I haven't watched since Mrs. Rhino died. I haven't watched any of the new ones, but that's because I don't know. I do TV and movies as like a social thing. Like that's what I like. I'll watch stuff with my kids. I'll watch stuff with my wife, but I don't sit down and watch stuff by myself. Um, and I don't know why that like this is one of the weird things is when if you go back and watch my archives, I did used to be in an MLM, and that was one of the things that they would always harp on was that like, oh well, you see people watching TV at night, that's not spending time together as a family. And they like that was one of the things that they would say was like that's in the culture that we got to watch out for. So don't just zombify yourselves and watch it. It's like you're not talking necessarily. Well, I mean, they haven't met my kids. They talk through the movies, but like it's a bonding activity. It's a shared experience that then you can discuss later. So it's like a community activity, and that's how I do TV and movies. I don't watch them by myself. I find like I have a hard time sitting down and actually just watching something by myself. It just doesn't work. So yeah, so that's why I've kind of fallen off the Doctor Who bandwagon at this point. But anyway, favorite classic Doctor, Tom Baker. Favorite modern Doctor, David Tennant. I saw someone in the chat predicting that. Yeah, there we go. Nope, that's the wrong one. You guys keep saying stuff when I'm trying to hit select. You're gonna say Tennant. Yep, I said Tennant. David Tennant. He's the best, hands down. David Tennant is such a good actor. Like the thing I saw him in immediately after Doctor Who was Jessica Jones, and just the complete flip from the Doctor to that creep was just mind blowing. It was like he made me hate him. He made me hate his guts and believe it. But it's like this guy that I had absolutely loved up until this point. So it was like he's such a good actor. I saw him live in New York City in I think it was Richard III, one of the Shakespearean Richard plays. It was phenomenal, great experience. We literally drove down to New York City. We stayed one night. Didn't have time to do any touristy stuff. Like we took the train to Central Park, and we like just like ran through the park and was like, okay, we've been to Central Park, now we got to get to the show. And, like that was all we had time to do, and it was amazing. But yeah, that was fun. Favorite classic companion, I don't know. Let's say Sarah Jane, because she's the one I know the best, because she's also in the new ones. Favorite modern companion other than River. Oh, you see, this is a bit of a trickier question because Donna's the obvious answer, because Donna's fucking amazing. I don't like Rose. A lot of people like Rose. I don't. I tend to prefer the companions where there's not a romantic interest there, because I don't watch Doctor Who for the romance. I watch it for the sci-fi, and it doesn't need romance. But I actually really like Martha. But as you might have guessed from what I said about the romance, I really hate that they turned her whole thing into moping about the Doctor not liking her or not falling in love with her like she was falling in love with him. It's like, screw that. She's a good character on her own without the Doctor. Just forget the love interest thing there and make her a good character. And she was good when she wasn't moping over the Doctor. But someone's saying worst companion Donnie. Who's Donnie? Is that one of the new ones or is that one of the old ones? Because I don't remember Donnie. Sean Cooper says, have you seen Paws of Fury yet? No, I haven't. Favorite TARDIS interior? Hadn't really thought about it, to be honest. Matt Smith's TARDIS, maybe? Yeah. Because it's still keeping kind of the grunge from David Tennant, but it hasn't gone all like full modern with Peter Capaldi. So it's like a fusion between the two, and I kind of like that. Favorite master? It's been a while since I've seen Mistress. Missy. She was good. I remember liking her. You know what? I'm gonna go with the old man from like that 2-part episode when he was like hidden in the pocket watch and didn't even know that he was the master. I liked him. He was good. Wish he could have stayed and he didn't have to regenerate into the other. Well, the other guy did it well as well. Favorite alien race? The Hath. Something about a thing that talks through bubbles. I like it. Those are the fish things with the bubble thing on their front. Which guest character would you like to see revisited? Jenny, obviously. The Doctor's daughter. What'd they do with it? Why'd they forget Jenny? Jenny! Jenny! How oblivious are you in your daily life? Very oblivious. Quite oblivious. Very maximally oblivious. Sometimes on purpose. There are times when I let my kids get away with stuff just because I can't deal, like it's something that's not important. It's just like, okay, if I go deal with that, I'm gonna have to like ground them or something, and then I have more stuff that I need to deal with, and I can't. I'm working. Who would win a fight, Daleks or Cybermen? Oh wait, they answered that already. I remember the episode. I forget who won. Was it the Daleks? I don't remember. It was... if you could visit one planet in the Whoverse, which would it be? Ood. The Ood homeworld. Are you excited that Russell T. Davies is returning as showrunner? Who was it? Chibnall now? Sure. I'll be excited. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to who the showrunner. I don't get all worked up about like, oh, Stephen Moffat's bad because blah. I don't care about that. Like, whatever. It's just a fun little show. Some people take stuff like this too seriously. I will act like I take it seriously sometimes. If there's someone else that takes it seriously, I'll like take the opposing position and pretend like I take it seriously. It's fun. Okay. Let's see. Lars Cade says, how long did it take you to go from how did people from the East see the star in the East to I'm not a Christian anymore? Was there a particular moment of disbelief, or was it a more of a gradual realization? It was very, very gradual. So that was, if you're unfamiliar with the story, that was the first Bible verse where I noticed that there was a problem in the Bible, because the wise men were in the East and they saw a star in the East. And somehow, by following the star that they saw in the East, when they were in the East, it led them west, which is like the opposite direction that they would have gone if they followed the star. Not a huge deal in most cases, but it was one of those things where it's like, okay, well, there's the appearance of error. If God really exists and he's really all-powerful, he probably wouldn't have even the appearance of error in the Bible. That would be an easy thing for an all-powerful and all-knowing being to avoid. So that really, like, I kind of just like put the Bible aside, didn't really read it on my own, and for years I would go to church, and then like every Christmas when they read that verse, it would just be like, no, don't think about it, don't think about it. But yeah, it was a very gradual process. There was no one moment when I was like, okay, now I'm an atheist. But I can tell you that when I decided to read the Bible on my own after like years of this doubt growing, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to read the Bible so I can get right with God or whatever, because that's what they tell you. Spend time in the Word of God to get close to God. I'm like, okay, I'm going to read the Bible. It's like, God's a genocidal maniac. What the fuck? So yeah, by the book of Joshua, I was an atheist, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't believe in this. Diamond Flaw says, what content creator who you haven't already collaborated with would you most like to? Okay, just zero chance of this ever happening. But Call Me Chris is fucking hilarious. She's great. She's just wholesome, and she's amazing. And I think collaborating with her would be super duper fun, but it's never going to happen. One that actually has a chance of happening, Dark Matter. Dark Matter. I would love to be in a Dark Matter 2525 cartoon. That would be great. I have been in a Prophet of Zod cartoon, so that was fun too. That's on my CV if I ever want to be an actor. But yeah. Okay, let's see. What cheeses do you think are best in a grilled sandwich? Ooh, that's a good question. It's got to be something with more flavor. Like, I kind of like just a normal cheddar, but like throw some little bit of blue cheese in there, and then you grill that. Ooh, Beautiful. Um, but you gotta have one of the more flavorful cheese. Like you can't put a Havarti in there. Havarti's a great cheese, but put it in a grilled cheese sandwich and the bread overpowers it. Too easy. So yeah, just like normal cheddar, with a little bit of blue cheese sprinkled in there, some bacon bits maybe too. Like yeah, gotta make a good grilled cheese sandwich, and then of course you gotta get the like burnt cheese from the pan when you're done. Ooh, so good. How do you decide how long the delay is before hello and welcome? Like as in like hello and welcome to my chat like that? I don't. I'm expecting. Well, no, you're in the chat, right? I think I saw you, Diamond Flaw. You're in here somewhere. That was your question, or maybe I don't know. I thought I saw you. Maybe not. I don't decide. I just say it, and however it comes out, it comes out. So yeah, that's that's that. Ooh, someone said I saw brie. Brie is best. Brie in a grilled cheese sandwich is pretty friggin' spectacular. Especially if you get some really, really caramelized onions, some brie on a grilled cheese. Oh, so good. There's no way to screw up a grilled cheese sandwich. It's like even the Havarti on the bread. Like, yeah, the bread would overpower the Havarti, but it's still a grilled cheese sandwich. It's gonna be fucking good. Anyway, James Lamica says the one supposed unforgivable sin is to blaspheme the fucking Holy Spirit. I see what you did there. Have you ever heard of a way to undo this sin? I wonder what would be the reaction of a Todd Friel. He's the guy of Wretched Radio. He's like, I call him Discount Seth Andrews because he kind of got the same-ish voice. To hear someone do that to his face, essentially dooming him in his eyes, would he just stop talking to you? I think the way they kind of deal with the blaspheming the Holy Spirit being the unforgivable sin thing is it's not actually blaspheming the Holy Spirit, like saying fuck God. Hasadigi Iboe. Great song. Really, that's okay. I say great song. I listened to it recently. It doesn't really hold up much. There are a couple things that is like, oh, did he say that? Did he really say that? Oh my God. but anyway, yeah. I think the way they kind of interpret that is that blaspheming the Holy Spirit means to die without being a Christian. I think that's kind of the interpretation there. So it's not like there are no unforgivable sins while you're alive. So I know that's not what the Bible actually says. I'm not going to look it up right now, but I'd have to read the context to like try and figure out whether or not that's what the authors might have actually intended. But that's generally the interpretation that would get them out of like me saying fuck the Holy Spirit as being that like, oh yeah, now that's completely unforgivable, so there's no point in even evangelizing to you again. I have made jokes about that in videos. It was like, oh well, this is an unforgivable sin, so like fuck the Holy Spirit. There, no need to evangelize to me anymore. I'm beyond saving. Just leave me alone. But yeah, no, that's not the way it works, unfortunately. Which Bible story do you find the most personally entertaining? That would be the one in Ezekiel 23, where she lusted after her lovers, whose emissions were like those of a donkey and whose members were like those of horses, or vice versa. But yeah, I think that was that Ray Haberge's? I don't even remember who that was. I just remember the donkey come verse. Ezekiel 23. Let's do ESV. Ohola and Oholibah. My God, some of these Old Testament names. You know what? Fuck that. I don't care about the context. That's my favorite Bible verse. My favorite Bible story. I don't know. There's a lot, and there's a lot of weirdness going on. I'm going to say the Christmas story. Because it's, because I don't know, it's just, like, between the Matthew and the Luke versions, there's just so much going on there that can't be reconciled, that gets reconciled anyway. Sean Cooper says that shirt reminds me of a bag. Where are you from, Sean Cooper? Because you're not the first person to tell me this. But, yeah, I think you said where you were from earlier. I have a suspicion. Depends what you would call the bag, because there are different names depending on where you go. Anyway, that's all for the patron questions. Now to the member questions. Let's refresh that to make sure I get everybody. Yeah, so I have members on YouTube. I'm sorry, members. I always forget about you guys. There's supposed to be benefits that you're supposed to get. I'm sorry. I appreciate you. I really do. Yeah, he's gone to plaid. Spaceballs reference, love it. Anyway, Bruno says, one of my favorite books has always been Watership Down. That's not a question, Bruno. Oh, Sean Cooper. I think I might know who you are. You're not Sean Cooper. Hi, Sean. Okay. I found you. You've been texting me, haven't you? Okay, anyway. Favorite books has always been Watership Down. I don't know. I've never read Watership Down. I think I saw it. Well, that's one with the rabbits, right? Maybe? I haven't read it. I'm sorry. Todd Jansen says, or Jansen, depending on whereabouts you're from. Since you are Canadian, it begs the question, have you seen the movie Strange Brew, or are you a hoser, eh? I'm going to go with hoser. I have not seen Strange Brew. I cannot, however, do the Canadian accent. That is the typical, like the red green, like, I can say no doubt, like, no dude about it. But even that's terrible. I can't do the Canadian accent. That you, like, I don't know. That's not how Canadians talk, unless you go out east. There's some that talk like that out east, but not here. So I'm a hoser, eh? Royal Ann Houchins says, what are you and the kids' favorite books, and what is one book you would like to read to them in the future? So, our favorite book to read together, because it's the most fun, is this book called Don't Push That Button. And it's like got this monster or whatever, and it's like it's a kid's book, little kid's book, barely any words, and it's got a picture of a button and a picture of a monster, and it's like, don't push the button, and then you turn the page and it's like, oh, but that's a big red button. It looks really fun. And next page is like, no, but we're not supposed to turn, and you keep going, and then eventually, like, yeah, he pushes the button, and then it goes through, and like you get the kids to push the button too, and then it's like, oh, now I've got polka dots, and then you push the button again, and like, oh, now I'm purple. Push the button again. Oh, now there's like 2 of me. Push it a bunch of times. Oh, now there's 25 of me. Now we shake the book to shake out the monsters, and it's just a ridiculous and fun book. That's probably my favorite one to read with the kids, just because it's not a good bedtime book because it gets them really wound up, but it's a lot of fun. But I also, like, I've transitioned to mostly reading more adult books to them, because they still let me read bedtime books to them at, like, what are they now, 13, 11, and 9? Like, yeah, the 9-year-old, sure. 11-year-old, borderline. 13-year-old still letting me read them books at bedtime? Sure, why not? I'm gonna still do it. So yeah, so I read them the books, and like we've read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, we've read Lord of the Rings, we've read there's a series of books by a Canadian author called the Silverwing series, is like follows a bat as the main protagonist. And I remember really liking that book as a kid, and as an adult, I'm reading it and we're like, oh, there's so much wrong. Like, no, he's talking about the bats like crawling on all fours, but like with their wings, someone's doing something else. Like, does he not know that the hands of the bat are the wings? Like, why? No, they can't have hands and wings. So like, there's a few moments like that, but it's like, nah, they're still fun books. But I just started reading tonight, what's it called? Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials series. I got the big, like, all 3 books in one, and I'm starting to read that, so that's a fun one. Time to read The Princess Bride to them. My daughter has read The Princess Bride already. We've watched the movie. Yeah, the Bible is a nighttime book. The Bible is a permanent nighttime book. And I don't know why my little plugin that selects your comments gives you the face, like it says face with tongue instead of actually showing the face with tongue. I don't know what's up with this thing. I need to find a better one. I mean, to be fair, this is like some free thing that some guy just made on his spare time sometime. So it's fine for what it is. But yeah, it does have some issues. And then Richard says Marvel or DC. Marvel are more fun to watch, hands down. Modern DC, I can't get into it. It's a lot of times it's just boring. Like I think Batman v Superman is like the ultimate example of this, where it's like it's just this really, really, really long movie with exploding head. It's just long and boring. It's like when I watch a movie, even if I don't like the movie, I finish the movie. I finish watching it because it's a commitment thing, and usually I'm watching with other people, so I just finish it. There's a list of like maybe less than 10 movies that I have not finished, and Batman v Superman is one of them. Bridge on the River Kwai is another. That's one of the ones where it's like, yeah, I can see that this is cinematically very good, but it's just so slow moving. Like I took a break from it and then never got around to it again. I did intend to finish Bridge on the River Kwai, I just never got around to it. Batman v Superman, I have no intention of ever finishing that. It's just boring. Now, as far as like if you go back a little bit, like the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, really like that. That was good. The George Clooney Batman, that was good in a different way. Just remember, I love bad movies, so I love that. But like George Clooney and Arnold Schwarzenegger, that was a great movie, but not like because they wanted it to be. That's just how it worked out. Oh, Shade's asking thoughts on the church putting on a free production of Hamilton. I'm just happy that they actually issued a cease and desist letter to them. Usually they don't. Usually they get away without. They get usually when religious order, like when they printed shirts that said "Got Jesus" instead of "Got Milk," they get away with that. When they rip off the Coca-Cola logo and spell Jesus instead of Coca-Cola or whatever that one was, they get away with it. So I'm actually kind of surprised they got away with it, but this one was a lot more blatant than that. Like they were clearly trying to make people think it was actually Hamilton. They used the actual Hamilton logo. It wasn't like changed to be slightly Jesus-y. Like they were trying to trick people into a Jesus-ified version of Hamilton, and it was just shady as fuck. But not in the good. You're shady in the good way, Shade. Not that kind of shade. Which church? It was what was the name of the church? If you go to look up Hemant Mehta on Twitter. He's been tweeting about it recently. I think it was Hemant Mehta that was tweeting about it. No, I'm not going to do that now because I'm going to get distracted. Okay, so that's actually it for member comments. They don't have a lot of members because I keep forgetting to actually do the stuff that I'm supposed to do for the members. I'm sorry, members. I appreciate you. Dude, is that the thing that we're supposed to do? The heart thing. Appreciate you, members. I appreciate your members. That's a nice member right there. I like you, member. I'm sorry. Okay. On to the Twitter responses. Refresh that page in case there's new ones. Vice Rhino, how many Americans could you support if a mass exodus happened? And then you said anything. If there was an emergency situation where a bunch of people needed to move out, we could fit a few families in the house. My house it's not massive, but it's not tiny either. I just ask that you pay for your room and board by like cleaning. Because right like there's physical room for the things, it's just not organized in a way where people would be comfortable like sleeping in these locations. But yeah, I could fit a few people. I actually already have one person that's on maybe they're kind of waiting and seeing at the moment list. I'm not gonna say anything else about that because I don't want to put anyone in any compromising situations. But yeah, this is actually a serious-ish scenario that is like being contemplated. Oop, oh, wrong one. Wouldn't be a Rhino stream without a dick joke. You're right. It would not. He also talks about it in his last podcast. What podcast? Oh, is that Friendly Atheist? Yeah, I don't have that one. Oh my god, I'd pay by cooking every meal. Okay, I'm taking in refugees now. You guys can like anyone's welcome to like crash in my place as long as they cook and clean. And you can like whatever, that's fine. Healthcare too. Healthcare. Didn't know that. Haven't had a podcast. Yes, it's called the Friendly Atheist Podcast, I think. Again, see my earlier thing about keeping work and play separate. Okay. Sly Spy says, why the rhino? Yeah, it's been a while since I've explained that. Yeah, so anyway, it's just because I'm bad at coming up with usernames. So when I started my channel, I was like, what am I going to call my channel? I don't know. Okay, let's just type apologist names into an anagram generator and see what comes up. And Eric Hovind was the first one that I typed in, and it spat out Vice Rhino at me, even though like Vice is not technically a word, but it said it was. So so yeah, I became Vice Rhino because Eric Hovind was the first name that I thought to type into a random anagram generator. That's really all there is to it. Samantha Adamson says, how are you doing? I'm doing well. How you doing? I'm sorry. I'm trying to do the Joey thing. I'm not good at the Joey thing. I'm sorry for that. How did you get there asks, I wonder if you finally have the laundry thing sorted. Pun marginally intended. Well, today I sent one of my kids upstairs to fold his own laundry and put it away. There was a pile on my bed. And he went upstairs for about 10 seconds and then came back downstairs. I still do not know what he did. He obviously did not fold his laundry, and that wasn't enough time to just grab it and stuff it in his drawer either. So I don't know. I don't know what he did. And as long as he can wear clothes that don't make him smell bad, I don't much care. Oh, laundry sucks. Laundry's the worst. It just keeps going and going. Like, there's always laundry to do. Always. You just do laundry, like, immediately. And then there's more that needs to, like, you don't even get that feeling, like, when you do the dishes and now your counter's nice and clean. And it's like, yes, I've accomplished something. And then a couple hours later, you make dinner and it's dirty again. Like, that sucks because, as soon as you're done it's undone again. But yeah, with laundry, it's just, especially with 3 kids, there's always more laundry to be done. Always. 100% of the time. And I hate it. It's the worst. Lucky Spade says, how's the ADHD stuff been going? I've been considering getting it checked out myself recently. This is where I was going to talk about the pharmacy thing. Yeah, so ADHD thing. I'm officially diagnosed now. Hi, I have ADHD officially. My doctor put me on a trial of Concerta. I think it's Concerta. It was a very, very low dose just to see if I tolerated it, and I did. So my dose was just upped recently. Like, I've been on the higher dose for like maybe 2 days, so I'm not really noticing a difference from the medication. But I've also been seeing a therapist, and it's been helpful. And yeah, so my life is still a complete disaster because I can't organize shit. Like, my cat needs her claws clipped, and I realized today that I had the appointment for that last week. And that was in my calendar. Like, I put stuff in my calendar so that I remember it, because that's the only way that I remember anything. If it's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist. Clip the cat's claws was in the calendar, and I forgot. And I'm not doing it myself. I don't trust myself to do that. But Yeah, no, oh, it's a challenge. And like yeah, like I said, like my house is a disaster. Like I've told you guys this before, but like back here, this is not the cleanest setup. Like look, I got a random TV stand sitting right behind me. Why is there a TV stand back there? Like what the fuck? I don't use that's why it's there is because I don't use a TV on a stand anywhere. So the TV stand is there instead of on the TV because I don't know where else to put it. And like yeah, this whole room is a mess. There's Noam Chomsky is down there. Someone sent me a gnome in like the Borat Mankini thing, and apparently it's named Noam Chomsky. So that's that. But yeah, like my whole life is a mess, and ADHD is largely why, and I'm trying to manage it. And yeah, I'm at the beginning, so there's not really much to talk about as far as progress yet. We'll see when my like I'm st- like I'm I'm still on a fairly low dose of the drug, so like maybe it'll get better with a higher dose again. Maybe 2 days is too quick to expect results. I don't know. Oh, I got a treadmill under my desk now, so I like walk while I work. That's nice. I enjoy that. That actually does help me focus because I'm not like fidgeting in my chair trying to find a comfortable position like or like and I have a standing desk, so like sometimes I'd stand up, but then like I wouldn't want to stand up, so I'd sit back down, and then I wouldn't want to sit down, so I'd stand back up, and like just walking, it's been great, and I'm like walking 30,000 steps a day, and I'm probably gonna break this freaking treadmill because it's not designed to be used that heavily, but that's what I do. Oh, nope, wrong one. Scratching posts reduce the need to clip nails. Yeah, she's got a scratching post, and she ignores it in favor of the carpet in the living room. We actually, it's actually a homemade scratching post, and because she loved the living room carpet so much, we actually like wrapped it in a segment because we used to have carpet throughout the whole house that was all the same carpet, and there's like this beautiful hardwood floor underneath. We ripped it up everywhere except for the living room, and we used some of the scraps from that to like line a custom cat tree that we built for her, and she ignores the cat tree, so it doesn't work. Um, QU9 iBlock Holmes and Dr. Emma Watson says, I tried and sent a mail to your P.O. box a couple months ago. Did you receive it? I'm going to say probably. If it was just a letter, then yes, I definitely got it. Well, I mean, unless it got lost in the mail somewhere. I'm not sure. The name that I've got here isn't really attached to anything that I recognize. Um, if it was a package that wouldn't fit in an actual like little box, they hold it for me at the post office for 2 weeks, and this is hypothetically at the end of the 2 weeks. If I haven't picked it up, they return it to sender. So if you have not gotten it back, then that means that I did pick it up. But also they've been known to like they told me that they generally don't send things back. You have to leave it there for a really long time for that, because sometimes I do go more than 2 weeks without checking it. But I did just check it this past week, and I got t-shirts from Chris, and that was it. No, not Chris, Charles. um and Dark Falcon says, here's hoping your life gets better with the meds. Me too. I hope that too. Therapy helps as well, but I feel like I need some chemical assistance as well. Oh, you're in the thing. It was just a letter. Yeah, I probably got it. Ooh, you know what? Now that I think about it, there was one letter that I got right before a bunch of shit hit the fan for me in my personal life that I actually meant to bring up on a video. Someone made a bunch of good points, and I never did. And I'm sure I have it around somewhere. I wouldn't say that. I would say it's lost in my memory more than it's lost in the mail. If you're comfortable sharing, like maybe a quick snippet of what it was about, because I think I don't know, or what name it might have been attached to. Is I always do make a point of reading the names of the people that it comes from, so that if like a thanks in a video is required, I know who I'm thanking, or so at the very least, like I don't know, it feels like common courtesy not to just open something and be like, oh, I got a cool thing. I have no idea where it came from. Throw out the box. Like, no, that just feels rude. I need to know, like, who sent me this nice thing? I actually. It is around here somewhere. My inability to find it right now does not mean that it is lost, but you can see in some of my streams there's a little origami rhino that like I keep on top of my computer here for the most part. That was one of the first bits of fan mail I ever received. So like I love getting fan mail, and when I get it, I do keep. I don't think I've recycled anything. Like there's like a pile of letters and stuff that I've gotten, so I probably do have it somewhere. So I apologize if it was something that I was supposed to address on air and I forgot. But yeah, my life has been a mess recently, so that's why. Okay, moving on to random YouTube people. Mark Rothenbuehler. Sorry for your name. I mean, like, I'm not sorry that you have your name. I'm sorry that I tried to say your name. Do you find yourself still giving into superstitions even though you don't believe in any underlying supernatural reason to do so? For instance, knocking on wood, not waking up, not walking under ladders, not stepping on a crack, only picking up pennies that are heads up. I've never heard the pennies thing before. Yeah, no, I actually, even as a kid, I would actually go out of my way to break all those rules. So like I would walk under a ladder instead of around it if I saw that. I know there's a camp that I went to that on the Niagara Gorge where there's like this old Native American face that's been carved into one of the rocks on like on a trail there, and it's not just like some kitsy thing for the camp. It's actually like a historical thing, and they try to get you to not touch it because it's this historical thing. And so the way that they would do that is they like, oh, every time you touch it, that gives you 7 years of bad luck. And my reaction to that would be like 7, 14, 21, 28. So yeah, I've never been prone to superstitious beliefs. I do the knock on wood thing, like if it, like when I was working in the restaurant, I was like, oh, it's a slow night, knock on wood. But like I didn't, like that wasn't even like there were people that actually took it seriously and be like, they'd like run around looking for wood that they could knock on, whereas like I'd just knock on something and call it wood. It was like, whatever, it's not real. Okay, Christoph, why are there no vowels in your last name? I'm not saying that. I'm sorry, Christoph. Oh, Benny Maru says, will VR do some butter nips like Jake? Well, I don't know. He didn't send that in a super chat, so I'm not going to answer that. No, I'm not going to do butter nips. Probably. Anything's possible. You know what? When I do my fundraiser this year, maybe there will be like a goal where if we hit that goal, I'll do butter nips. I don't remember how Jake did it. I do remember him doing it, but I don't remember how he did it, so. The peat gets stronger as it gets warmer. Okay. Anyway, Christoph says, I might not hear the answer because of the time zones, but I'll watch the vid for sure. Hi, Christoph. I'm sorry for not even trying your last name. Will you cover more Catholic arguments in Poland and probably more countries? They're more influential. They're the most influential religious group by far. I don't know, because the Catholic arguments generally fall into one of two categories. There's either the, oh, well, you haven't read every single Catholic philosopher from the past 2,000 years, therefore you don't know what you're talking about style arguments where they just like, they just bombard you with all this sophistry and jargon and stuff that like, I don't know, it's hard to address. Like you almost have to take a course on just the jargon to figure out what they're even saying. Brian Holdsworth kind of does that a little bit. And then there's the other ones where the arguments fall into the more bland, vague, apologetic kind of thing, which are kind of the same as the apologetics that I already do cover. Like there have been times when I've covered a Catholic channel that the way I learned they're Catholic was when I was about to say something about how, like, oh well, if you don't believe evolution, then I wouldn't expect you to believe X, or sort of thing. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't think I've heard them say anything about evolution. Let me look up this organization, make sure that they actually don't believe evolution before I accuse them of not believing evolution. And oh, look at that, they're a Catholic organization, they probably accept evolution. So yeah, like, I don't avoid the Catholics, but I avoid the pretentious, drawn out. I don't know. You look at the videos where I've covered what's his face, like Brian Holdsworth, and who's that other guy? Like, there's two guys that they both start their videos by like showing you the clip of them turning on the camera and then slowly going and sitting down and like brushing off their shirt, and like one of the guys actually wears like the friar's frock thingy or whatever, and it's just they're so pretentious and they make me mad, just the way that they waste your time and expect that to be just like, well, of course you would waste your time on my stuff because my stuff is the most important stuff. So watching me dust off my robe for 30 seconds is absolutely worth the wisdom that I'm about to impart to you. And it's just like, that's the way it comes across to me, and I hate it. And it comes across in my videos when I do that. And I've had people be like, oh, well, you've clearly got an anti-Catholic bias. Like, no, I just think this guy's a dick. But if that's the way Catholics are, then maybe. Didn't I just release a Catholic video? I might have. There was... You guys keep making me, like, check stuff. I don't want to check stuff. This was supposed to be an easy Twit Tweets, not Twit Tweets. Whatever the fuck this is. AMA. That's what it is. Let's see. There is... He said, a pastor said, I said, what? That's not Catholic, I don't think. That's AIG. Who is that guy? We are fleas on the dog of the universe. That guy was Ravi Zacharias, which I don't think he was Catholic. Yes, I did. We are fleas on the dog of the universe. That's a Catholic video. That video did not do well, analytically speaking, so if you want me to do more Catholic videos, go watch the Catholic videos that I've done. Because people didn't watch that one. Because it's got 5,000 views less than the one that was released, like, a week before it. It's okay. Not everybody watches everybody. My last video is doing really, really well analytics-wise, which... praise be to Jeebus for that, because my videos have all been like, summer's always kind of a bad time for YouTube. It's the slow season for YouTube because people are like outside doing like real things instead of inside watching YouTube videos. So I always notice a bit of a slump in like from June to August sort of thing. But like my video from last Friday has been in the #1. Like YouTube gives you a little comparison of the last 10 videos you released and how this one is doing compared to them. And I haven't had a #1 for ages. And so when I got it on Friday, it was just like, yay, finally. It feels so good again. But because of how YouTube works, #1 now is like probably #6 from 6 months ago. Okay, back to the questions. Unknown Dane says, my go-to question for atheist channels has become the following. Your favorite apologist argument, not what you might find the most convincing, but the most entertaining to cover, and least favorite. Most entertaining to cover? I think that would be presuppositionalism. You can just have so much fun with them because they make no sense whatsoever. And is it like the guys that are just like, oh, well, you already know God exists. Of course you know God exists. And like, it's kind of frustrating, but it's also kind of fun at the same time. And along the same veins, it's similar but different. My least favorite is the ontological argument. Because that one I just find to be... That one's just asinine. They're like, oh, well, God is the most perfect being, and you can't think of a better being, therefore God must be the perfect being that exists. Like, fuck that. Or like, God is a necessary being. Like, I don't know. That one is like, it defines God into existence. Because we define these words in this way, God must exist. And it's stupid. Like, no, that's not the way the universe works. Gloria Gatchell says, "What's an apologetic argument that you are tired of having to respond to?" All of them. That's the biggest challenge with my job is finding a new way to address the same thing that I've addressed a million times before. But that's also the fun part of my job, because like you gotta like I need to learn new things to in order to find new ways to address them. Alternately, what apologetic argument would you like to spend more time addressing in your videos that you haven't gotten the chance to yet? I don't know. I don't actually know the answer to that question. What apologetics have I not spent a lot of time on? Let's see. I do cosmological all the time. I avoid the ontological. Like, I've got a couple videos on it, but it's just such a stupid argument that I'm like, whatever. My last video was basically tag. That's a transcendental argument. Teleological can get frustrating because but again, that's one that like it's easy enough to dismiss it with like, well, if you think that it's a sure thing in science that the universe began at the Big Bang, like that was the beginning of everything, then you haven't been reading any modern cosmology, because there are a lot of different cosmological models that have a lot of different options for what happened before the Big Bang. And like out of the dozens and dozens of different potential answers to that question, only one is the universe sprang out into being out of nothing. And that's Lawrence Krauss's idea. I haven't really heard much about that in recent years. But like that's one of many potential models, and it's one of the like it's not one that you'll find most cosmologists supporting. So like the model, like the apologists always latch on to the model that fits their apologetic best and present it as though that is the scientific consensus, when in reality there's like one cosmologist out of dozens that actually promotes that model. I mean, there's probably more that accept it as well. And it like if you listen to Sean Carroll talking about cosmology, it could be a thing where it's like, yeah, maybe that could be the thing. Like that's not what I think happened, but that's possible. And the problem is we don't have enough information yet to actually draw a conclusion. And so apologists like to say we don't know, therefore God. What's the best whiskey you ever drank? Macallan, I think, the 12-year, I don't know. It's like $105. Someone else bought it for me, and it was really good. I'm probably not buying that by myself. I actually didn't mean to select that one, but it was a good question to answer. I was gonna select this one, make a joke about my pants not being smart. Oh, you know what? I fucked up, because I am currently wearing Star Wars pajama pants, and I could have worn. I actually have Smarties pajama pants. No, it's M&M's. Close enough. We'll call them Smarties, even though they're M&M's. But I have M&M's pajama pants, and I was gonna like make a joke about that, but I'm not wearing those pants, and I have reason for that. You see, so I'm wearing my button-up shirt with my pajama pants because I'm stylish. So when I'm live streaming, I often am not wearing pants, but I'm always wearing something, because in case like I'm live on YouTube, if the camera falls, I don't want my channel to get deleted because I wasn't wearing any, like I was freeballing it downstairs and the camera falls. So I'm always wearing something. And my M&M pants, they're the button at the front popped off, so if I'm wearing those, I am often hanging out, so to speak. So I actively chose not to wear those ones tonight because of that, because I always have that in mind. But yeah, anyway, back to the questions. Yeah, we read that one. Crafty Raven says, what is your favorite conspiracy theory? Who is your favorite cryptid? I'm not really into cryptids that much. I mean, they're all like, I don't know. I guess the Loch Ness Monster, because I've actually been to Loch Ness, and I contemplated like throwing a stick out and taking a picture and blurring it a little. Oh, Sean Cooper wants to see the goods. Yeah, I'd like my channel to not be taken down. I don't have a problem like, I don't know, if there's enough demand, maybe I'll start an OnlyFans. But I don't have a problem showing the goods. YouTube has the problem showing the goods. Um, but also, I'm of the opinion that most people probably don't want to see that. I do not. I do not send unsolicited dick pics. You got to ask for it if you want it. And even then, I probably should know who you are. Well, I know who Sean Cooper is. Sean, all you got to do is ask. My phone goes off soon. I'll send you one after the stream. Anyway. Favorite cryptid. So yeah, Loch Ness Monster, because I've actually been to Loch Ness and it's beautiful, and I considered faking a picture of the Loch Ness Monster while I was there. Um, I actually really liked, if you go north of Loch Ness, there's a little town called Inverness, and there's a castle there called Elliondonnan Castle, which is in a bunch of movies. It's a very photogenic castle. It's like, do a search for Scottish castle. It'll probably, let's verify this. It'll probably be one of the first ones. Scottish castles images. Yeah, first picture is Elliondonnan Castle. Gorgeous castle. And I think that area is a little bit more beautiful than Loch Ness itself. And that's like right before the bridge to the Isle of Skye. Oh, beautiful place. I love Scotland. Scotland is such a beautiful country when it's not raining. And I was lucky when I was there because it wasn't raining. My dad said he had the oh, Sean's asking. I said, you got to text me. You want it, you got to text me. Just to make sure that you are who I actually think you actually are who I think you are, because I don't want to just send a random dick pic to someone who I thought you were but weren't, and then they're all like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that." Oh, Alex, would you ever do a Toronto meetup? Yeah, I do want to do a meetup. I really want to meet my fans because I hate socializing with people, but like I love meeting my fans. Like I went to the God Awful Movies Toronto live show and I met like 4 people that actually watched my YouTube channel while I was there, and it was friggin' fantastic. And I loved every second of it. And I'm sorry that I don't remember your names, guys. I tried. I like repeated it to myself after we introduced it. I was like repeating it. It's like, yeah, gotta remember that, because I want to shout them out and say it. But I'm really bad with ADHD. That was before I was being treated for ADHD, so I forgot them. I'm sorry. But yeah, I want to do a meetup. I would love to do a meetup. The problem is that my phone just went off. Hi, Sean. But the problem is, yeah, Sean is who I thought Sean was. Okay, you'll get that after the stream. Anyway, what was I saying? Right, yeah, I want to do a meetup, but I think the problem is my base is so spread out that like I have probed the waters before about having maybe a weekly meetup at just like a bar or something with people that are somewhat close to the area, and there was like one person that was like, yeah, I might be able to go to that sometimes, and everybody else was like, no, I'm way too far away. So like I would love to have a meetup. I would love that, but I don't think my base is big enough to have that many people in one location where like everybody's too spread out. So tell all your friends to like and subscribe to all my shit, and then we'll do a meetup at some point. That would be great. I would love that. That'd be fantastic, but it has to be, I don't know. I don't want to say worth it because I would love to meet even just one person, but yeah, I don't know. I'm going to stop talking before I dig myself into a hole with that one. Okay, next. What is it that fascinates you about Hollow Knight? Just curious, as this game has so much to offer. Yeah, it's a fun little game. So I think probably what works for it for me is that it's easy to learn, but it's a difficult game. So it provides a challenge while not getting overly complicated with the controls and shit. Like when you first start the game, you can walk, you can jump, you can slash your little nail. Yeah, you learn more skills as you go on, but like it's not like when you get into like PlayStation 4 games and they have like the little trackpad on the thing that you have to remember to manipulate, and then you're like Horizon Zero Dawn. I really enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn, but that's one of the games that I started and then forgot about because I think the idea of picking it up and playing it again, it feels like work because it's like, okay, well, I left it for a month now. I forget what all the crafting shit is all about, and I forget this, that, and the other, and I'm gonna have to relearn it. And it might be easier for me to restart the game rather than pick up where I left off. And like, I don't know, it gets too complicated too quickly. Whereas Hollow Knight, I can pick it up, and yeah, like I don't need to relearn everything, and if I do, it doesn't take long. Like if I leave it for a little while, but it's still a hard game. It can be a very hard game. Hollow Knight 2 would be a pretty good idea if it only would ever happen. Silksong. Look up Silksong if you're not aware of Silksong already, because like that's already in my like wait list. Where like as soon as it's out, no, I'm actually not allowed to buy it as soon as it's out because my kids want to get that for me for my birthday or Christmas or whenever it comes out. It depends. But yeah, Silksong is like you play as Hornet instead of the Knight in Silksong, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm hoping it's going to be the same thing where it's easy to pick up and learn, and because I really enjoy it when games suck me in like that. But eventually they do get kind of tiring. It's like I've already played this map a bunch of times. Okay, where are we? Oh, there we go. See any good movies lately? What was the last movie I saw? Last movie I watched Star Trek Insurrection with the kids. I've been watching, okay, it's not a movie, but I've been watching Stranger Things with the kids. That's a lot of fun. They just finished season 3 today. I love that moment with Dustin where he's singing with Susie. It's so cute. I love that. And everybody's just like, what the fuck is going on right now? It's so good. Okay, so that was it. I suspected, because everybody knows about Silksong if you know about Hollow Knight. But, yeah, movie. What was the last movie we saw? Lightyear in the theater. That was a decent movie. It was a fun movie. It wasn't, like, amazing, but it was fun. What else was there? I don't know. Like I said, I don't really watch movies on my own, and right now we do Friday nights or movie nights, and we rotate through who picks the movie. So like last week was my night to pick, and I've actually like as of when we get to Star Trek Nemesis, the kids have seen all of the Star Trek, not including the J.J. Abrams reboot. So like we actually went through and watched them in order. I don't know if I'm gonna continue with the J.J. Abrams reboot. Like I'm sure we'll watch it with them eventually, but I just don't know if I'm going to continue with that after Nemesis. But yeah, what was it that what's his face picked last? I think he picked the SpongeBob movie. Was it the SpongeBob movie? I hadn't seen. I slept through most of that one. I don't know. Oh yeah, people are. I don't know. I think Captain America was a pretty good buzz. And yes, Tim Allen is a terrible person. But yeah, I don't know. No spoilers for season. Does that mean you've actually made it to season 3? Because last time I checked, you didn't even know who Max was. So don't give me that no spoilers for season 4 nonsense. Anyway. Okay, well, I can't think of any good movies that I've seen recently. Like, I mean, yeah, okay, I've seen the new Marvel ones. They were okay. They were Marvel movies. They were good. They weren't bad. They were fun. Like, same as Lightyear, I guess. Fun. Nemesis is the only TNG I couldn't find on VHS. I have all the TNG movies on DVD. I think I bought them as a box set years and years and years ago. But we watched them on Amazon Prime because I have Amazon Prime and they're free, and that's easier than putting the DVD in. And it's probably at a higher resolution too, because DVD is like what, 480p? And I have a 4K TV, so the upscaling isn't always great. Alternatively, best example of projection. Best examples of projection, I think, are right now what's going on with the Republicans freaking out over the FBI searching Donald Trump's thing, where Like they're all like, "Oh, like don't you know that if they can do this to a former president, they can do it to anyone?" It's like, no, the problem for ages has been that they have been doing it to just about anyone, and the former presidents have all been above the law. So now this is like, no, they're not above the law. And you know what? This is not a Democrat or Republican thing. Barack Obama signed off on drone strikes against American citizens in a non-war zone. I think I'm pretty, like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that constitutes a war crime. I'd be perfectly happy to see him perp walked out of there for that crime. It's not a Democrat or Republican thing. It's a I don't think the president should be above the law thing. VHS upscaling on 4K is hilarious. Yeah, I've played Nintendo 64 on my 4K TV. That needs a low res TV because that looks like shit on a 4K. Let's see. We've got, how many times a week do you aggressively scratch yourself in places you shouldn't mention if you want to stay monetized? Oh, it's generous of you to assume that that's a number that could be broken down to per week and not per day. Because yeah, like I'm mostly alone in my office. The kids are not like here, so like if I'm itchy somewhere, I just scratch it. I don't worry about it. And you guys can't see, like, I've scratched myself thoroughly on stream before with nobody being able to see anything. So like I'm just unashamed when it comes to that. Obviously I don't do it right in front of my kids because that would be weird. But if I'm alone or if the camera's not pointed down, like I'll just, is the stream still monetized? We'll see. Why the rhino? Why are you asking about the rhino again? I already answered that one. Go back. Rewind. Because, previous presidents haven't been stupid enough to take classified documents while they leave office. I don't think it was even classified documents. It was stuff that was supposed to go into the National Archive. Like, he's being hunted down by librarians right now. Don't mess with the librarians. My dad was a librarian. This guy's a badass. Have you seen me? If genetics are anything to go by, we're not badass. I'm not a badass. I just talked to the kids about this today. I forget how it came up, but they were talking about whether or not I would fight someone. And I'm trying to remember how it came up because it was funny. And I was just like, okay, guys, like they were saying something, or like we were talking about Stranger Things or whatever. I took him out to dinner tonight and it was a surprise. And okay, story time. I'm going to, they've been bugging me to go to there's a new, well, it's not new, but there's a restaurant that we just started going to in my town that I was not expecting it to actually be good because it's like this dive bar sort of thing. And then you walk in and there's all this like Asian food on the menu. Like they've got Japanese stir fry, they've got like a Korean barbecue plate, and they've got all sorts of like Asian, like they've got normal bar stuff too, like burgers and crap too, but like there's a bunch of Asian food. I'm like, what is it? Like, what's with this? Why do you guys? It's like, oh well, the owners are Korean, and so they wanted to bring a bit of they wanted to bring some Asian dishes over, and it was not just Korean. There's there's some Chinese food and some Japanese food and some Korean food. It's like, I'm like, okay, sure. I didn't expect to see this here. So like, let me try some soba noodle teriyaki shrimp stir fry. Why not? And it's actually really good. So my kids have been like, ever since I brought them there, they've been bugging me to go back there. And so today I load them all up in the car. I'm like, okay, come on. Let's get ready to go. We're going to go out and spend all my money. And so they're like, oh, we're going to the restaurant. We're going to the restaurant. Yeah, we're going to the restaurant. So I load them up, and then I drive to the vet, and I pick up my cat's medications, which are fucking expensive. They're like, yep, there, we spent all the money. They're like, no, that can't be it. Why, you wouldn't need us all in the car for that? Like, come on. Why would you bring yourself in there? Yeah, I was just going out for a nice drive because, getting some fresh air. That'd be fun. Like, no, it's gotta be more than that. I'm like, no, we're going home now. And then I turned the wrong way. He's like, oh, we're going to the restaurant. Oh, we're going to the restaurant. And I pulled into the liquor store and I bought this guy. And they're like, oh, come on. You don't need us for that. Come on. No, there's no way that's it. No, there's no way that's it. And then I turned the wrong way again. I was like, oh, we're going to the restaurant. Yeah, we're going to the restaurant. Ah! And then getting all excited and everything. And then we get to the restaurant and I turn and I drive past it because this restaurant is in an area of town that I've never driven back there. It's kind of like, it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but kind of not. Like, it's like the kind of houses where you have like a good 1 to 200 meters between you and your neighbors sort of thing. Like you got giant yards and you can like, so it's not like middle of nowhere, but it's, you got space. And so I'm like, oh, well, I've never been here before. I'm kind of curious what the houses around here look like. So I was just driving past it. And my daughter just looks over and is like, come on. If we weren't actually going to the restaurant, you're being very cruel right now. Because, like, Gavin's been you've been begging to go to this restaurant for, like, weeks now. Come on. Like, and you've said no every time. And you make it sound like we're going to go there. And then you drive right past it. No, I don't believe it. I'm like, okay, yeah, fine. We're going to the restaurant. And I forget why I started telling that story. Oh, yeah. So one of the things, ADHD's a trip. So yeah, one of the things we started out, one of the kids just like, was like, oh, we're going to fight evil Russians. And then my daughter was like, well, why would that spend all his money? And so I was like, oh, well, we need to buy the uniforms to blend in with them. We need to buy the guns and stuff. And he was like, no, you just kill the guards. You beat up the guards and you take their guns and uniforms and stuff. And that's when I was like, okay, just, kids, have you ever seen me fight anyone? And they're like, no. Like, you want to know why that is? Why is that? Because I'd be like Steve Harrington. I always lose. And they actually get that joke now because they've been, and Lily's right over there. Because it's getting late now. It's about time to end the stream. Anyway. Yeah, that's right. The Russian guard was the guy that lost to Steve Harrington. Finally. But still, like, that's... I've only been warned off Stranger Things season 4, and I'm only spoiling season 3, so we're good. Okay, out to the couch. I'll be out in a minute. Got like 2 more questions I want to get to, because that's like all there is, and it would really suck if I stop right, but like when there's only 2 left. Okay, so Warren Driscoll says, if serious answer is not guaranteed, because I posted did a little disclaimer, said serious answer is not guaranteed. If serious answer is not guaranteed, serious questions not guaranteed either, and then VTuber when? Probably never. Have I bleached my hair where the sun don't shine? I have not bleached my hair where the sun don't shine. But yeah, no, I'm not doing the VTuber thing. That's too much effort. Like, I don't even move my avatar. I could do that. I could like pop him around to like Sir Sick does, with, like have him in different positions. Like, doesn't even have to change the expression, just different positions or whatever. But I don't, because that would take effort. and I'm bad at my job. This is my job. I'm a professional, y'all. I'm a professional. Being like, no, I'm not doing that. That's work. God, what's wrong with me? And last question. What, if anything, do you miss from your Christian times? I was going to say, like, just, like, having a community. But the last church I was at was, like, all old people. And, like, I know I'm getting there, but I'm not there yet. So, like, no, I don't want to hang out with those guys. But like, I guess it's like a regular social interaction thing that kind of forces you out. Oh, Mrs. Sick moves, so Sir Sick actually hires that out. Okay, now I don't feel so bad, because that is actually more work than you would think. Moving the avatar around and stuff. That's actually why, like, I hired Tim Robertson. He's the guy that does the Patreon for the God Awful Movies guys. I hired him for my Patreon. He doesn't do much. He just does what Mrs. Rhino did for me before. And he was actually like, I was fully ready to like have to turn him down because he was going to be too expensive, but apparently like he mostly out of the goodness of his heart and because it's for a hobby or whatever. So he was actually more affordable than I thought he would be, and I really appreciate everything he does. And like this is actually one of those weird things about ADHD where the stuff that I have Tim do, it's not hard stuff. I can do it myself and it doesn't take long. It's but for some reason I was getting to a point where I would get to you professional y'all, you sure? No, I'm not. But it was getting to a point where like I would get to where I'd have to do the stuff in Patreon that I now pay Tim to do, and I would find excuses to do other things. I would avoid it, and it was just, I don't know. It was like I can't explain why it was difficult because it's not a difficult thing to do. It's just not. And this is one of those ADHD things where it's like it's a normal thing, it's an easy thing, but for some reason it just I can't bring myself to do it for whatever reason. And that's what I had Mrs. Rhino doing. She would just like update my spreadsheets or whatever, and I'd just copy it out of the spreadsheets, and like I wouldn't have to deal with the Patreon back end of it. And so like Tim has been a lifesaver in that. Like it's so much, and like it's not getting updated as often as I might like because sometimes I do 2 videos a week and I would prefer it to be updated for every video, but I only asked him to do 1 day a week, and that's fine. This is actually something I'm talking about with my therapist, where like one of the issues I have with trusting other people with stuff like this is that like it's I feel like I need to be in control of everything, and so I need to figure out like either I have to sit down and explain exactly what I need done, or if it's something that's not that big a deal, just learn to let it go. And so this is good practice for that. So yeah, anyway, this has been a weird rant, and it's time for me to go. And I know my outro has not been playing my outro music recently. I think I fixed it if I remember right, but I also might have not. So we'll see if my outro music plays. So thank you all for joining me. It's been fun. It's been all over the place. There's been some interesting questions. And yeah, okay. So yeah, end credits. I'm sorry. I just made a connection from like way earlier in the stream that I thought about talking about. I'm like, no, my daughter's on the couch waiting for me, so I'm gonna go now. Bye. Hey, the music's playing, and you can still hear me. Bye.